all over the globe. As they say in politics, expect everything because decisions can go either way, and there's no permanent decision and no permanent consensus, just as there's no permanent enemy in politics today, or let's say no permanent friend in politics. And this is Nigerian politics that we are talking about. Again, I say excellent afternoon to all our viewers. Yeah, on to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike, and I remain the convener Kike Atanda. Of course, I have the Real Talk, and I'm so excited today to have Marshall on the platform because he will be training some. Let me keep that to myself. Marshall, how are you doing? Of course, I'm excited that David is on the platform.
Let's give it to the man. Let's give it to the man.
So no kupa.
Men first.
Kike is excited because my northern brother is our guest today. Man, let me not take the cat out of the bag. Let me wait for a little while so that
just
when
keep the cat alive.
Hi guys, my name is Marshall Anthony Onoye. Welcome to the RTWK show, and Kike has promised it's going to be an interesting and exciting one today. Welcome.
All right, everybody, from wherever you're getting this opportunity to watch us, we thank God for life. And it's another beautiful day. And we're seated here to discuss the things that affect all of us commonly. I hope that Nigeria will decide truthfully in 2023. Welcome. My name is Damlola Banire.
Many thanks for that short intro. Yes! Today starts the history as unforgettable date when Nigeria lost one of the leaders and, of course, an eminent hero in the history of governance in Nigeria. Let's get more details from this day in history segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us, guys. Only if you know the kind of drama that goes on behind the cameras when we're on break. All right, on this day in history segments, wow, you know, it's such a painful exit. Most of the time, when I remember former president, Yar'Adua, you know, I know that I think sometimes last week, 15 years ago, reminded us is what's it called? How he was elected as the president of Nigeria. And again, I remember he was out of the country, or he was flown out to the country after 93 days of absence and all of that. But it's one person that I can tell you that I enjoyed his governance, you know, even though I was you know, a bit younger, but you could feel it, you know, there's some sense of accountability to some extent, and somebody who also likes to, you know, in terms of ownership, uniformity, and I think that is what most, or let's say the current administration, let me tailor it down there, that they lack today. But quickly, what's your take on this day in history?
Well, it's just still the same. Last time I was on the show, or rather, last time he was referred on the show on this day in history, I was on the show, and I talked about how a meek personality he was. And there was so much expectations as to how his government was going to, his leadership was going to turn out, because he started quite well. One man who first declared his assets, one man who admitted and apologized publicly to election, that his election was, he came in through a fraudulent election. Very humble, you could tell. You know, and Nigerians embraced him. You know, that would have been another MKO for us, a compensation, if you may. May he so continue to rest in peace.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Well, not far from what you said, like the first sitting president, that was what struck me, to declare his assets publicly. I mean, some people went to Code of Conduct Tribunal to sleep. You understand? It's not like they have any business
She's
with it.
referring to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, be precise.
But we saw the videos when he was in Code of Conduct. But Daddy was sleeping in the dock. I like to use the word daddy. He was sleeping in the dock, so he felt like, okay, there's no accountability. You can't even call your local government chairman or your councillor to a ward meeting to give accountability of what they are doing in office, like Kike said. So Yar'Adua for us was an exemplary leader. I wish that he stayed around a longer, a while more. But during his period, we didn't really used to have these chaotic bombings. There was peace, at least to the best of my knowledge. So we wish him Al-Jannah Firdaus, and we wish the family at large the fortitude to bear the irreplaceable loss. I mean, 12 years, but we're still moving.
And can I just chip in there? Have you seen how some of the presidential aspirants have been visiting the mother? You know, it's just some for the guys. Let me keep my breath. It's time for a quick message. Stay with us. We'll be right back. It's far beyond the zoning discourse and, of course, the debates that has riddled the political landscape of the country from all religions, or let's say regions, and the final decision is streamlined to the northerners and, of course, the southern contention for candidacy. The recent political events and campaign unfoldings have some sort of movements that I can say that there's a debate, and what you have to settle remains unclear to every one of us. Will I say unclear picture as well? But the implication of either a northern president or will I say a southern resident will be far impactful of the outcome, or will I say the turnout of the event for the next administration after President Muhammadu Buhari will leave office. But guys, on the show today, we have a prominent Nigerian, will I say a stakeholder from the last presidential administration in Nigeria, and he will be taking us through, will I say, the workings and the agenda of the northern political counterpart towards zoning, and of course, the choice of presidential candidate for 2023. Guys, let me hold my breath again. Let's get to engage our guest. All right, welcome to the show, Alhaji Umar Sani. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today, and I say many thanks for joining us on our lunch show today. Let me start by asking you, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm fine, Kike, and how are you?
Well, thank you, as you can see. So let's just dive straight to the topic at hand. You know, you are a core northerner and an active political analyst based on your profile, and will I say you are also well vast with the political makers and also political actors in the north. So I would like you to give us a bit of their pulse and their agenda towards the southern president for 2023.
Let me start by saying that the north has an open mind in terms of the presidency. The issues are divergent as they are complex. They are divided because in the north, the pulse is that zoning or positioning of responsibilities relies on political parties. They are the ones that have the platform. They are the ones that can give the platform, and they have their peculiarities. For instance, while it is viewed generally that there is the need for the zoning of the presidency from the north to the south, or from the south to the north, but it is looked at from the position of political parties' interest and their history. In the PDP, for instance, the north that has been part of the 16 years of the PDP has only held the position of president only once, and maybe for about 2 years before the demise of Alhaji Umar Musa Yar'Adua, who was the then president. President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, acted as acting president for a year before he was now confirmed as substantive president for a year in 2010, March 6, 2010. He became the substantive president for a year. So generally, the North does not seem to believe that within the PDP they have acted their own term as to even warrant a second term, because the PDP zoned the presidency in 1999 to the south, and President Olusegun Obasanjo got the ticket, and he was elected president from 1999 to 2007. So the South has completed her own tenure, and it was the turn of the North. And so the North also lost it to the South. And so because the North lost it to the South, the North within the PDP, the Northerners within the PDP are arguing that it is their responsibility to actually get the ticket, within this period, and to also ask that, that PDP should give them the chance this time around to become president. But the general argument within the PDP is that of the people that are looking for the position, although there is that clamor for the Southern presidency within the PDP, but the point is that the arguments that people have canvassed, which is now permeating the polity, is that most of the people who are looking for this position have already defected to the APC at that point in time, the Northerners. For instance, Tambuwal was from the APC, Bukola Saraki was also from the APC, and Atiku Abubakar was also from the APC. So when PDP needed them, to consolidate on that presidency, they were not there for the party. So this is the argument. It is not about zoning. It is about why did you leave us and you now want to come back and claim presidency. This is within the PDP. Within the APC, which is the ruling party at the moment, is that they had an understanding, they had their own agreement, and they had their own alliances. Now, with all these alliances, the argument has always been that if President Muhammad Buhari finishes his tenure, the ticket goes to the South, which is the normal thing. Because if you have done 8 years as president, you need to leave it to the South to also do their own 8 years. But the fear within the APC is that if they leave it to the South and the PDP now feels a northerner, there could be a lacuna. That lacuna will come from the fact that perhaps northern votes will just go to the northerner. And so they don't want to take a risk that at the end they will now relinquish power. So it is a cat and mouse game. Both sides are watching each other to see what they will do. If there is a northern presidency in the PDP, there is likely going to be a northern presidency in the APC. If there is a southern presidency in the PDP, there is likely going to be a southern presidency in the APC. They are interchanging they're always shifting the post of their congresses and convention, so that they will be able to they'll be spying on each other.
Okay, sir. You've spoken so much about the northern agenda and the southern agenda and the rotation around them, but I've not even heard you mention the East at all. Is the PDP not considering the East for this position at this time?
No, the PDP is, like I said earlier on, is open. Now, the argument has always been that when you look at the geopolitical distribution in Nigeria, you discover that the argument has always been that certain geopolitical zones have not really had a taste of the action. And that the Southeast, which has been a stronghold of the PDP, because the PDP has never lost the Southeast and the South-South. Even where they have an Adams Oshomole as a government, the PDP had won the presidency, in Edo State. So there is no way, at no time has the PDP ever lost the Southeast and the South-South during the election. But the argument has always been that, okay, if the Southeast are clamoring for it, why is the North Central not qualified? Because the North Central are also shouting that they have never been president. And so they also require to be president because this is a democracy. But the argument has always been that, has the North Central been the hotbed of the PDP? Has the PDP always had it very good in the North Central? So the Igbo presidency is possible if there is, that uniformity and consensus within the party. But the point within the PDP is that the people who are clamoring for the Southern presidency are from the South-South, and that the South-South has also had it through President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. So it is most times it is the weakest and the that are actually working hard for the South-South to become president. And if we also take the APC, Amechi and the rest are working that South-South should come. So the South-South are using Southern presidency to bring the presidencies to their own region. Now, the only strong man, or the two strong people in the PDP within within that have gone for the presidency is Mrs. Peter Obi and former Senate President Ayim Pius. They are the ones that are very strong within the party and that can clean the presidency. But the issue is, this is a matter for delegates to decide. Now, the PDP has set up a committee to look at the possibility of zoning. Now, the National Working Committee of the party is supposed to sit down today, and look at the issue of the zoning and decide whether to leave it open or to zone the position. Now, whatever their decision is, if there is zoning, then definitely it will be to the south, and then it will be to the advantage of the South-South, because it will now they will wait for microzoning. And in the South-South has a larger chunk of people who will influence the microzoning to their own side. So the issue is very complex, as I said, but we need the party to take a position on the matter first. If the ticket is thrown open, then it is left for every segment of the society, every geopolitical zone to contest for it. And whoever the party decides at the national convention becomes the candidate of the party. And then, Nigeria moves forward.
If the ticket is left open, like you said, it's left open for anybody, the best man winning and taking the flag of the party. But we do know that it'll also fall on the strongest person. One of the strongest person there, meaning Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the Turakin Adamawa. We know how he's very influential in your party and might likely clinch that ticket. In 2015, your principal, Namadi Sambo, at the time was criticizing Muhammad Buhari and advising Nigerians not to vote for a man whom he said was 73 at the time. Atiku Abubakar, as it stands right now, I'm wondering what you think your principal would be saying about a man, or Nigerians voting for a man who is 73 and above.
Well, my principal's opinion is his opinion. And at that time, don't forget that he was also in power and they want to go back. So every political maneuver that will be required for them to win will be employed. But that is not to say that that is the correct position of Nigeria. It is a campaign for himself, and he's a principal. And in terms of campaigning, people say things that will favor them, but it depends on whether Nigerians agree or don't agree. As it is now, Nigerians have a choice to either accept Atiku or to reject him. If they believe that Atiku is too old for them, is too old to Nigeria, then definitely the delegates will not accept it. But if they believe that even with his old age, it does not constitute any clog in the wheel of progress, and that Atiku has the capacity and the capability to unite Nigeria, the delegates would vote for him. However, what we need now is a unifier, an economist who will put our economy in good shape, and of course, somebody who has the capacity to tackle our security challenges.
All right, many thanks for your submission thus far. But I want to bring you to speed. I know we all know that the APC has produced 24 presidential aspirants from the Southeast and the Southwest alone. And I would like to ask you, one of my first questions to you is, how do you think this would play out as against coming up with a strong candidate in a unity to retain the Southeast zoning preference? That's number one. And the reason why I'm asking this, because I know that last week the APC political party said they were hesitant on the conclusion of their own presidential candidate because they were also maybe shadow observing or, will I say their biggest political opponent, so which is PDP. So will you be saying that should we be looking at it from the angle that the primaries at the end of the month is what everybody is actually waiting for? And going to my second question, what are the chances that APC may come up with in Northern as their presidential flag bearer, should PDP present a strong presidential contender? What's your take on this?
You see, the general feeling, is that like every presidential cycle, both sides, the PDP and the APC, are playing a cat and mouse. Everybody wants to look at what this one will do before they will do it. So the issue is, can the PDP actually produce a northern presidential candidate? Because the contest in the PDP is very keen in terms of capacity, in terms of strength, in terms of resources. So Governor Wilson Wike is there. Hayatuddin, who is the new entrant to the presidential race, is there. He has a strong backing too, a strong northern backing. Because they believe the North looks at him as much more younger, much more vibrant, and who is intellectually savvy and has the focus to change Nigeria. And so the argument has always been that a younger person, especially from the general, a younger person is required. Somebody who is within the age range of 55 to 65, perhaps not more than 70. Should not be more than 70. Should not be up to 77. So these are the arguments. And so the argument has rotated around that cycle. And so the North and the South are, the PDP and the APC are clever in terms of who to produce. If the North produces, if the PDP produces another presidential candidate, the chances are that the APC will also produce another presidential candidate. Don't forget that all the governors have said that they will stand by Buhari's choice of the presidential candidate. That's what they said also of the party chairman. They said anybody President Buhari nominates as party chairman, they stand by him. And so they will also say, they have also said they will stand by his choice of the presidential candidate. And because they are a party that wants unity at this point, any disunity within the party will be an advantage to the PDP. And so they don't want to give the PDP any advantage. And if you take a look at the states and what they are doing, for instance, in Kaduna now, they have already started the consensus arrangement. The governor has given the ticket to Senator Sani. He has also directed those who are contesting with him to go and pick the senatorial tickets. And so for up to the state assembly, they are working on consensus so that they don't want any friction within the party, so that the PDP will capitalize on such friction. And so they are also trying to do the same thing at the national level, because having in mind and afraid that the PDP would take advantage of their internal crisis for their own interest. Now the PDP also is very careful, because they know that there will be fallouts after the convention. If people don't get it, they are likely to leave the party, or they are likely to work against the party, or they are like. So the PDP is also watching carefully to see how this thing can be resolved. And this is the most vexatious issue within the PDP, because it has pitched the northern politicians against the southern politicians. So many arguments and counter arguments are on online, on social media and so forth, where everyone is arguing on who is supposed to go for who. At a point, Atiku said, if the South will zone it to the Southeast, he's ready to give in. And another new argument has come that Peter Obi is actually not working for himself. He's working that if Atiku gets the ticket, Atiku will still retain him. They had that understanding. Atiku will retain him as his vice. So, and the only neutral person within the PDP that people are watching is Hayatuddin, and that Hayatuddin, coming from a background where he has the support of a larger segment of the northern elites, is likely to also pick the ticket, even though he is a no fight in the game. But his backers or supporters are very confident that he's likely going to pick the ticket.
All right, glad to know you're still with us. In case you just joined the show, today's conversation is about the contention between the choice of a northern president or a southern president, and the zoning debate has been on for a while, and the two leading parties in the country seems to have some form of, let's say, strategy to the winning, let's say, presidential election, regardless of the zoning interest. But quickly, let me open our phone lines. Remember, you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio numbers, rate 0988 774 00 showing on your screen right now, and we are streaming live on YouTube page and Facebook page, both on Real Talk with Kike platform and of course on Silverbird platform. Again, are you there, sir? All right, while we are trying to reconnect to our guests, you know, Masha, you were saying something. All right, are you there now?
Sorry,
all right, fantastic. Are you with us, sir? All right, we have a lot of calls coming in right now. I think our technical director, so please try and open
the phone lines.
Open up the phone lines. But Masha, what's your take thus far with what
very interesting. It's giving us very great insights, and to see how Kaduna State is trying to exemplify what that is in terms of the ruling political party. They're trying to exemplify the strategy that they should adopt at the national. It's very interesting. That for me was very insightful.
All right, we have Favor calling from Lagos. Favor, many thanks for calling. Please go straight to the point, please.
Hello, Favor.
Hello, Favor, are you there? All right, apologies. I think I have to let Favor go. Hello, Mr. Sani.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Many thanks for connecting.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Can you turn down his own volume?
Favor, are you still there? All right, apologies. I have to let Favor go, please. All right.
Still have Sani on the line?
Mr. Sani, are you there now?
Yes, yeah.
All right, fantastic. You know, they say election is a game of numbers, and that is what is firmly established in this all over the world. Let me put it like that. And the Northerners have the higher numbers, and their count is a major decider for whoever that wants to win the presidential ticket. I think that's my opinion. You know, and you are a PDP actor till date. You know, based on your credential and all what you've done thus far. And I'd like to ask you, who amongst this current PDP aspiration can likely, or aspirants rather, you know, can likely be chosen at the primaries to win the large numbers for the party, and why would you choose the person?
Well, it is, you know, it's a very difficult choice because the factors that will give rise to a choice are so many. One of which is your service to the party. Number two, your support base. And thirdly, your ability to convince delegates and those behind the delegates. Because the delegates themselves, they are not the ones that made themselves. There are those who made the delegates. So those behind the delegates are also very important. Now, the kingmakers are there, and they are by the side. And those kingmakers are interested in who becomes president of Nigeria. And so they are working so hard to ensure that they sell their man and make him a presidential candidate. And so it's a difficult thing. The money factor is also there, because most delegates will likely jump, you know, at money offers and collect money and then vote. So these are very, you know, critical times for the party. But taking a general look at the situation, one can say that you can only suggest that there are front runners, but you can really not say this is the person who is likely going to pick the ticket, because there are a lot of underhand dealings that is going on within the party to discredit some people and to make sure that they don't make it.
And of course, I know that in times like this, they will be lobbying and, like you said, borrowing your words, saying that the delegates, if they jump at money, do we think that we can always play this chance of money at the verge where the country is almost in ruins, if for lack of a better word? Do you think that it is okay for the delegates to look at money instead of the profile of who is coming to work and who will serve diligently in capacity and capabilities?
You see, the Nigerian voter or the Nigerian delegate or whoever from every perspective is not supposed to look at money. But unfortunately, they are so impoverished that the people are looking for what to eat. Now, if you take the statistics from the Bureau of National Statistics, you discover that unemployment rate has gone so high, and that the number of unemployed people in Nigeria have risen and it has risen to about 33%, of people who are generally not employed. And so when people are losing their jobs, they are not getting jobs. They go into crimes and criminality, and then one of the easiest ways to get money without really laboring for it is politics. So they go into politics also to become delegates, and so it becomes an issue of fighting as to who becomes delegate and how because you make some quick cash. And so the issue of conscience is no longer given that consideration. Otherwise, we are supposed to borrow from those people we borrow the democracy from. Because of poverty, a lot of them, everybody is fighting to become delegate. If I tell you, just recently, the PDP ward delegates election that took place, it was like a dagger drawn. People were fighting, a lot of bottles were being broken in Kaduna State because everybody wants to. Somebody came to me and said he wants to become delegate because this is his opportunity to get married, to get money and get married, and then have some money to be able to open a shop to do business. So you can see the line, because he'll be collecting money from all the aspirants. And since he's going to collect money, and his vote is only one, he's going to vote for he has only one vote to give up. But all the aspirants from state assembly to governorship to senator to federal house of reps, they will all give him money.
All right.
And so
I'd love to ask you what I'd call a double barrel question, if you may. Yes, go ahead, please.
Ikena from Edo State calling in. Ikena, from Lagos State rather. Many thanks for calling. Please go straight to the point, Ikena.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. My name is Ikena from Lagos. Concerning the zoning aspect of the presidency, the question I want to ask, because it's so funny, like what is going on, and concerning the zoning, the APC have actually said that the power belongs to the north, and they will not allow the southern part to rule. So I want to ask the SA to the vice president. So I want to ask a question. So if the PDP and the political parties decide that this presidency is not going to the south, what do you think would happen?
Okay. Did you get that question, Alhaji Sani?
Okay.
Did you get the question Ikena asked?
Yes, I got the question. He said if the PDP and APC says the ticket is not going to go into the south,
yes,
what do I think will happen? What I think will happen is that there can be protest votes from the south to a very relatively very obscure party that will put a southern candidate, as their own this, and then they convert him. Whichever party they decide, they convert him, because the south is relatively poised for an action if they are not given the ticket, especially in the APC, because they have labored for it. They have an understanding. If there was no alliance between the north and the south in the APC would not have gotten the presidency. So the coming together of Asuwaju Bola Tinubu, ACN, the AMPP, and all the other smaller parties to form APC was instrumental to APC becoming clinching that number one position. And so if they renege on that because they want to continue to retain power, then they should also be ready for other actions which are unpalatable from those people they are denying the ticket. Don't forget that Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has only given a clear warning that he's ready to play dirty. And the reason why he would have said that is because he knows that there is an understanding, and that understanding is about to be breached. And so he is not ready, and some of them also, like Akeredolu and the rest, are not ready to allow that understanding to be breached, especially within the APC. So it's like the likely consequences are not palatable, and they may not be good for the.
Alhaji, I'd like to know in all of this, first off, I do not think our discussion will be complete without asking you, where in all of this political talk is Alhaji Umar Sani in 2023? Where at the political landscape do you stand? Are you contesting? Are you running? Where do we find you? Also, like you've rightly posited, what happened in the primaries or the APC, like you rightly posited, the violence that ensued, is just an iceberg of what is typical of Kaduna State. We've come to know it as a hotbed of violence. I'm wondering, where do you think Kaduna State would, or what would become of Kaduna State in 2023, given any form of dispute, politically speaking? I'd like to pick your brains on that.
Yes, on my own part, I have been playing my part. I have always, the last time in 2019, I was appointed by the party, by the PDP, as one of the Presidential Campaign Council spokespersons. We were 8 at that time. We were speaking for the party at various fora, and we have spoken very well, even though the party didn't kill the presidency, but we know that we've done quite a lot to make sure that the party wins the presidency at that time. I will continue to speak for the party, and I will continue to canvass for the party. And my support will depend on who approaches me. If you approach me and you want me to work with you, I will work with you. And at the end, whoever wins the primaries, I will fall in line with the party's choice and work for the party. That is about me, and I'm not contesting any position.
All right.
Now, secondly, secondly, coming to the issue
of Kaduna State.
Before responding to the second question, we have Festus from Lagos State. Julius rather. Julius, please go straight to the point. What's your contribution on the topic at hand?
Hello, Julius.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Excellent afternoon.
Yeah, I actually listened to the guest, and I'm really interested in this conversation because it's about our destiny.
Absolutely.
It's about our future. But I seem to differ a little bit with these two ideas of northern or southern candidates or candidacy. The reason is that I think if you look at it from 1999, that we started this present democratic dispensation, you will agree with me that we've had more southern presidents than that of north. Now, if the way we are now, the nation now, I think we shouldn't look at origin as the yardstick. We should look at someone that can actually move this country forward, rather than whether the person comes from north or the person comes from south.
All right, many thanks for your contribution. Masha, you asked the second question that you want to respond to.
Yes. Alhaji, if you're there, you could just respond to the second question regarding Kaduna being the hotbed in Nigeria right now when it comes to violence.
Well, I know that there are a lot of violence in Kaduna State, especially that some terrorists have relocated to Kaduna to cause discomfort and disaffection within the political space. And this is largely because of the way the governor has been speaking. He has been talking against the terrorists. He has been saying they should be killed. So they want to, really ground Kaduna State for him. And that is, sometimes, as a leader, you should not be speaking, in a manner that will suggest that there is no room for diplomacy. There is no room for dialogue. There is no room for. The only option is to kill. And so the terrorists want to say, okay, before you kill us, let us kill you people. And this is what is happening within the Kaduna, before, the terrorists were not concentrating in Kaduna. But when he started talking about all these things, they now concentrated in Kaduna, and they are now giving us, we are in the Hammer House of Horror, as it is now. But nevertheless, it will still not stop for, for an election that will be acceptable, that will be credible, that will be, and perhaps, in 2023, we are looking forward to the PDP clinching Kaduna State, depending on who we put as our candidate. If the candidate is very good and widely accepted by the people, then the chances are, nobody will now follow a bandwagon. It is about the candidate. If the candidate is not good, then the people will not vote for him. The people are ready to vote for a candidate from a smaller political party if he's very good. So our party, my advice to our party is to ensure that the person that they're going to put as the candidate of the party in 2023 is someone that is widely acceptable as a candidate.
Your personal and critical assessment of the political and, of course, the leadership landscape of the coming election in our country in 2023. Again, it has been an interesting one having you on our launch show. Many thanks again for honoring my invite.
Thank you.
All right. I know you have said a lot, but Marshall, last minute, what's your take on everything you have shared thus far?
Very insightful, very, very insightful. I like the fact that he appeared to be very objective and constructive, talking about the two political parties. He didn't appear biased to me, if you ask me. He was quite analytical, and I'll give it to him. And I also do hope, he mentioned about how answering Dami's question. No, it was the caller who called to say if the zoning doesn't go to the south from either party, what would then happen? I like the fact that he said, then there will be some protest vote going to some very maybe insignificant political party. I know that's what's going to happen. I sure do hope that the stakeholders are listening and could take one or two leaves from this.
All right, many thanks for that. Our technical director must just keep running
commentaries.
But it's not time yet.
Yes,
now.
I don't know what's wrong with him. But guys, I think for me is the fact that I pray that all the factors that he has brought in terms of what is surrounding the coming election, I pray that most of our leaders or the person who is coming to, so to speak, drive us forward, will actually be listening and look for how to unify the country. But, the last segment of the show, which is a trending story, what unifies us, what interests us, and what binds us together as Nigerians, as family, is the first trending story is that of the Telecoms company planning to increase call tariffs by 40% to compensate for cost of operations. I'm wondering, quickly, Dami, let me come to you. What's your take on it?
Well, I wouldn't say, I don't know where to stand. It's not as if it's a bad idea looking at them even in business, because it's the cost of current living that we are arguing and tussling about. If the cost of current living, the prices keep jostling up every minute. And Nigeria has been a country where there's no price regulation control, whereby you can say, okay, everybody under producing this particular product, this is your consumer end price. So we'll pay for it. I hope that minimum wage might increase. There's nothing we want to do about it. If it goes through the hearing, as much as I think that they should also tamper justice with mercy, because it's not like salaries are increasing. We are getting this money in a very, very tight corner or tight way, and you just want to collect the data SMS like that.
I think there will be increase, but not 40%.
There will be, but
the National Assembly is currently querying
the 40% part of it.
They're currently querying cable TV providers, service providers,
yeah, I know.
On their increase, and in recent times we've seen cable TV providers, service providers increase in like 2 years, 3 times. So I do not think that 40% is quite a mileage, So there will be increase, and I give it to them. Kike, I'm wondering, Why are you surprised that Dami is throwing a vote for increase?
All right, let me start by saying, I don't know, maybe she's throwing jabs. When she said that salary is not increasing, that's not the fact that they cut 40% of my revenue. I still did something. I still did something. You know, are you trying jabs?
No,
are you trying jabs on me?
But
are you talking about another revenue that's coming in for you?
Dami has already gone to the National Assembly. So let's wait for the National Assembly.
Because I know that the cable TV you mentioned, they didn't actually affect the recent increment, because I paid for my cable subscription and it was reduced. No, it was reduced. I wouldn't be able to mention as of today. I did mine 2 weeks ago and it was back then.
All right, guys. Most of that's it again. All right. I think for me, the telecoms have a valid reason to want to increase their tariffs, because I feel that this is because of also the system and what is going on presently that we are all being affected by when it comes to inflation and of course the cost of operations. However, I just say the question that came to mind is the fact that how can they say 40%? You know, 40%. I feel that the majority of their customers can even afford that. Is the first question that comes. Is it sustainable that they are saying 40%? However, or would I say nonetheless, is it not excess, or would I say rip-off on their customers as well? Because I really do not understand how they arrived at that 40%. That's actually rip-off on customers. Again, they are providing services what over that 40, would I say, are they providing services that is even over that 40% tariff markup that they are saying that they want to collect? Again, there is this, would I say, I feel this is where the NCC should actually come in, because I feel that the regulatory body in this case is the obligation is not fair enough in terms of the side of the telecommunication and the subscribers. I feel that this is where they need to go to the table, dialogue with the government, and see how they can actually resolve this. Personally, I can't even see an upgrade betterment, if you ask me, in terms of services that they are providing. Because for over a month now, Marshall, you know, my line is still bad because of NIN linkage. And what is there to be proud of about them? Because I feel that telecommunication and the NMC people, there's no synergy between them. Every now and then, if I go to any telecommunication, they'll tell you that services is down. And I'm wondering, what kind of service do they think that they want to offer Nigerians, that they feel that they deserve that raise in tariff? I just feel that, you know, in Nigeria, they tend to just throw all sorts at us and feel that we can just embrace it. And that is the reason why I keep emphasizing on policy, because I feel that there's no policy that is actually guiding most of the organization today, and they feel that anything can be thrown at us and they will sweep it under and Nigerians will fall into place. And that is what I feel right now, that 40% is a no-no. Quickly, I don't know if I have enough time to actually pick the second trending story. Maybe one person might have to be able to throw in their own submission on it. Okay, the second trending story that caught our attention is that of the IPOB members alleged to have beheaded 2 soldiers. It's so horrible. You know, Marsha, let me come to you. What's your take on it? Elaborate on it quickly,
well,
please.
it's very cool. We saw how, I mean, it's sad, it's sad that the lady who's from the East, you know, the man had another wife, but the lady who's from the East, they had already done their marriage, but they wanted to fulfill all righteousness by going down to the East and having another part of their rights fulfilled. It's barbaric, and I like the fact that the army has responded, and they say that
that's not their sister.
Say again?
That the woman in question is not their sister.
The army, no, the army has responded, and they have said that they would retaliate, and that they will fish out those that were culpable in the act. And for me, it's let's look forward to them, you know, fishing out these guys. But I do hope it won't turn out to be another massacre again by the army in the East, because I hear voice notes going around and all of that. I do not know authenticity of the voice notes and the calls that were, you know, I do not know the idea or the propaganda they are trying to raise from that. I just hope that we won't see another massacre by the army.
All right, many thanks for that submission. You know, I think just like you said that you're not sure about the voice notes and all of that. There are a lot of divided content on social media today. You see some people are saying the IPOB is saying it's not their sister. There are people, some blogs are saying, no, the IPOB is saying they cannot kill their sister and go scot-free. But I think what actually hurts me the most is one of our leaders, Kike, that also threw in a very loose words by saying that he supports IPOB in all of this, and I'm wondering, is that the kind of leaders we want to put in the corridor of power? Yes, I also saw that again, allegedly, because I'm not also sure about the authenticity of the content in the public space and all of that, but you know, there's no smoke without fire in our country. With that, we've come to the end of another edition of Real Talk with Kike. And of course, to my co-host, many thanks for keeping it real. Indeed, we had an awesome show today. Courtesy our resourceful guest, Alhaji Umar, Sani, and should I say, to my darling,
which of us is darling?
Many thanks for facilitating this. My name remains Kike Atanda-Owo. Why you are?
And I am Marshall Anthony Onoye. Beautiful ladies, I want to say thank you also.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm flipping my hair. Can we sign it now?
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.